Probably more than once, you had the plan, you had the motivation, you maybe even told a few people, this time is going to be different. This time, I'm going to make changes to my health. And then somewhere like around day 9, day 12, maybe day 2, it quietly fell apart. Not like with a big dramatic failure, it just stopped. Like you missed a day, and then you missed another day, and then it became the thing you used to be doing. Now, here's the part that nobody says out loud. It wasn't because you're lazy. It wasn't because you don't want it badly enough. It wasn't because of any of those things. It's because you've been told the wrong thing about how this all actually works, how it works to actually make changes when it comes to your health. So today, I want to tell you the right thing. This whole episode today came out of a real conversation. A client wrote to me and she said, basically, I always start and I always fail. Give me something, some words of wisdom to like actually be able to commit this time. And that question, it stuck with me because she's not unusual. She's most people. Maybe she's you. I know she's been me. Now, by the end of this episode, I want you to walk away with a completely different idea of what commitment even is. Not a pep talk, not you've got this, believe in yourself, but something you can actually use. So let's get into it. Welcome to the True Wellness Podcast with Dr. Z, where we explore what it takes to live with vitality, balance, and purpose. I am Dr. Z, and each week I will bring you powerful tools, inspiring stories, and expert insights to help you thrive in every area of your life. From health and wellness to mindset and navigating life's challenges, this podcast is your guide to creating a life of true well-being. Be sure to check the show notes and grab your copy of the True Wellness Checklist so you can get started on your journey right away. Now, let's get started. Okay, let's start by naming the thing that's been quietly sabotaging you, because once you see it, the truth is you can't unsee it. So the lie is this, that follow through is a willpower problem. That people who stick with things have more discipline than you. They have more grit, or they have some more of some kind of internal fuel that you just seem to have run out of. And so when you fail, the conclusion that you draw is about you. I don't have enough discipline. I'm just not a disciplined person. And I want you to really hear me on this. That conclusion is wrong. And it's not a small wrong. It's actually the thing that's probably keeping you really stuck. Here's why. So willpower is real, but it's a terrible foundation to build anything on. Anything. Because willpower is like this finite resource. It runs out. There's actually tons of scientific research on this. The idea that self-control behaves almost like a muscle that fatigues over the course of the day, right? Like we're so much better in the morning, and then over time, that self-control begins to whittle away, right? You use it to get through a hard meeting, to not snap at your kids, to resist the thing in the break room, to answer the email that you didn't want to answer. And then it's like 7:00 at night and you're standing in the kitchen and the program needs willpower too. And the tank is empty, right? The tank that you've got is empty. So think about what that means. If your plan, your wellness plan depends on willpower, your plan then depends on you having extra energy precisely at the moments that you have the least. I'll say that again. It requires you to have extra energy precisely at the moments that you have the least. So you've designed something that fails exactly when you need it most. And then, of course, what do? We blame our character for it, right? You blame your character for you. But it's not a character flaw. It's actually, what I'm going to call it, is a design flaw. Okay. So, and then there's discipline. Discipline, the same problem, just kind of slightly different coding to it or a slightly different costume to it. When people say, listen, just be more disciplined, what they're saying is just force yourself harder, push more, want it more. And again, maybe that works for 3 days, 4 days, a week if you're really fired up. But forcing yourself is exhausting. And no one can white knuckle their way through life forever. So forcing fades, and right behind it comes the guilt. And the guilt is almost worse than the failure, because now you're not just off your wellness program, but now you feel bad about who you are, or now you're feeling like you're having to cover it up. And I've watched so many people ride this exact cycle. Big motivated start, white knuckle in the middle, quiet collapse. And then it's like a few weeks, a few months of like feeling like a failure. And then, because they're actually good people who actually want to grow, they get inspired again and they start the whole loop all over. So new plan, new engine, and the same engine then gives you the same result. So if you've done that loop more times than you can count, I need you to stop hearing it as evidence that there's something wrong with you. It's evidence that maybe the methodology that you've been using is broken. You've been trying to win a game with a rule book that's actually designed to make you lose. So let's throw out that rule book and let's try something different. So here's the question that flips everything. I want you to actually answer this in your head. Okay. When was the last time you used willpower to brush your teeth? Think about it. Not the last time you brushed your teeth, but the last time you had to talk yourself into it, right? Talk yourself into brushing your teeth. The last time you stood at the bathroom sink and negotiated with yourself. Oh, like, do I really have to? Maybe I'll skip tonight. Let me find the motivation. You don't, right? We hardly ever do that, right? You just do it. You just brush your teeth twice a day, every day for your entire adult life with like zero internal drama. Now, is brushing your teeth important? Absolutely. But let's be honest, it's not life or death on any one given night. Okay. Skipping one night probably wouldn't hurt you. Okay. And yet you'd never skip it, right? You'd never skip brushing your teeth before you went to bed. And you'd never certainly have to force yourself. It's just done. You just do it. So here's what I want you to sit with. You already possess the exact skill that you think you're missing. You think you can't commit, but you eat every single day. You show up for work when you're supposed to, even on the mornings that you'd probably do anything just to stay in bed, right? You still show up to work. You put on your seatbelt when you get in the car without even like deciding to. You lock your front door. There are dozens of things that you do with total consistency, total follow through, day after day after day after day, and not one of them runs on discipline or willpower. Not one of them. So it can't be true that you don't have the ability to follow through on a wellness program, because you follow through constantly. You're doing it right now in hundreds of like small ways that maybe you didn't even notice. And the question isn't whether you can do it. You obviously can. The question is, what makes those things automatic in like your health habits or your wellness habits or your dietary changes or your wellness program? What makes that not automatic? And the answer is the whole secret of this episode. So I'm going to say it slowly. The things you do without fail are the things that you've stopped deciding about. I'll say that again. The things that you do without fail are the things you've stopped deciding about. You don't decide to brush your teeth. There's no decision left in it. The decision got made like long ago, probably by your parents when you were little. You may have given them a hard time, but honestly, right? Like it's done. And then it just became something that you are, not something that you choose. Like you brush your teeth every day. It moved from like your to-do list into a part of your identity. It's not even like a task on your list. It's just part of you. It's part of what you do. And that's the difference. Not willpower, not discipline, not how badly you want it. The automatic stuff is non-negotiable. The stuff you fail out is the stuff that's actually still up for negotiation, right? The stuff you fail at. And guys, I know we're talking about your dietary changes and your health here, but really this is with anything in life. The stuff that we fail at is the stuff that is up for negotiation. In anything that is up for negotiation, you will eventually negotiate yourself out of it. So let me show you how that happens, because I think this is where people go wrong, where they're like, I'm trying to be consistent with my dietary changes, or I'm trying to be consistent taking my supplements, or I'm trying to be consistent with my workout. So this is the part here that I want you to remember. So if you tune everything else out that I've said so far, tune back in right here, okay? When you start making lifestyle changes, maybe any program or any goal or whatever, here's what most people unknowingly do. They turn it into a daily decision. They wake up each morning and somewhere in their head, the question gets asked, am I doing this today? Am I doing this today? And it feels responsible, right? It feels like you're being intentional. It feels like you're checking in with yourself. Do I feel up for it today? But watch what you've actually done. You've actually taken something that you've already said that you've committed to, and you put it back on the ballot. So every single moment, you're like holding a tiny election. Follow through or don't. Follow through or don't. And you're letting whoever shows up to vote. You're letting whoever shows up to vote, like the tired you, the busy you, the discouraged after a bad day you're letting that person cast the deciding vote. So do the math on that. If you decide every day whether to follow your program or the habits, your new dietary habits, or whatever it is that you're working on right now, then over a month, you've actually given yourself 30 separate chances to say no. 30, right? And you don't need to lose all 30. You need to lose like just a few in a row, because a few in a row is how a streak dies. And once that streak's dead, right? Like once you're like, okay, I'm out of the habit now, the whole thing feels pointless. And what happens? You quit, right? You stop making those changes. You give up on yourself. This is like what happens to everyone around New Year's time. Now, here's the cruel little twist, because the stronger your reasons feel on any given day, the more dangerous that daily decision is. Okay? Because some days you'll have a genuinely good reason to skip, right? You're exhausted, your kids are sick, work blew up. The reason could be really, really legitimate. So you skip. Fairly reasonable, right? Full justification. But then like the next day, there's another reasonable reason. And the day after that, and every single one of them is defensible on its own, of course. And that's what makes it just so sneaky. You don't quit in just one bad decision. You quit in a series of perfectly reasonable ones. It's amazing what our little brains do, right? This is why I'll do it when I feel motivated. It's basically a plan to fail. Motivation is a feeling, and feelings are like the weather. They come, they go. If you're follow through is tied to what you're feeling, then your follow through is just as reliable as like Tuesday's weather forecast. Okay. Because you just never know. Some days are sunny, some days are not. And you do not get to pick. So let me connect this all the way back. The reason people are unable to follow through and be consistent, right? The reason why you feel like sometimes you keep falling apart is not that you lack discipline. It's not that there's something wrong with your program or there's something wrong with your choices or whatever. It's that you've structured the program or you've structured your decision as a daily decision. Let me rephrase that. You've structured your commitment as a daily decision. In any decision that you have to make daily, you will eventually talk yourself out of. Not because you're weak, but because you're human. And you gave a tired, overwhelmed version of yourself the veto power over your choices and your life, right? So the brushing your teeth version of you actually never gets to vote. You just know you're going to brush your teeth. That's the only reason brushing your teeth survives. So the fix isn't like to vote yes and like recommit yes all the time. Because it's not to become the kind of superwoman who wins all 30 elections, right? The 30 days in the month, who wins all 30 of those elections through like sheer force of will. That person doesn't exist, right? And chasing them is really like a trap. The real fix is to cancel that election, cancel that having to make that decision every single day. Okay? Like brushing your teeth. You just do it. So let's get practical with this, because a reframe with no action is just like a nice thought. And I don't want to leave you with a nice thought. I want to leave you with something you can actually do tomorrow or today, depending on when you're listening, right? This whole strategy comes down to one move, one single move. Decide once and then remove the decision. That's it. Take it off the ballot. Make it the kind of thing that you just do, not the kind of thing that you choose. And here's how you actually do that. Okay. So 1, make the decision once and make it a small one. So like right now, before you sit down or before you do something else, just decide, hey, not like I hope I'm going to stick with this, dietary change I'm working on, or this exercise routine that I'm working on, or this new lifestyle habit that I'm working on, or this meditation I'm working on. Just decide the way that you already decided that you're a person who locks the door at night. And here's the key. Make the thing you're committing to almost embarrassingly small. Not I'll work out for an hour. Start with 10 minutes. Not I'll overhaul my whole entire diet. Pick one specific change, right? Like I don't eat gluten or dairy, period. Like it's just who I am. It's part of who I am. It's like brushing my teeth. Pick a specific change. The size of the commitment is what makes it survivable on the bad days. And the bad days are the only days that really matter, because anyone can do anything on a good day. And I tell our clients all the time, I'd rather you do the tiny version every day than to do some heroic thing like just twice and then never do it again. Because consistency is the thing that compounds. And the size is almost irrelevant compared to whether or not it keeps happening. So when it comes to our health, small changes can make a really big difference as long as we are actually being consistent. Okay. So that was number 1. So number 1, again, is make the decision once and start with a small decision. Start with a small task that you're going to take to reach whatever your goal is. And then attach that to something that is something you don't skip already, that you've already got it, right? We're just going to chunk it right on there. So you've already got a whole list of like bulletproof daily habits. Remember that from like part 2, like, brushing your teeth and locking the door and doing all those things. So bolt the new thing that you want to add on, that new habit, right to it. Like, after I brush my teeth, I'm going to do the thing. Like, after I brush my teeth, I'm going to do 20 squats. After I pour my cup of water in the morning, I am going to prepare my lunch for the day, right? After I sit down at my desk at work, before I do anything else, I'm going to take 5 deep breaths. So you're borrowing the reliability of a habit that already works, right? You're not building like this new streak from scratch. You're hitching a ride on one that's already running. Okay. So that's number 2. Number 3, same time, same place, no negotiating. Same time, same place, no negotiating. So the more you put on autopilot, the less you leave to chance, right? Like, pick a time, pick a spot, and then this is the part most people resist. Actually, like, stop checking in with yourself about whether or not you feel like it. You're not going to feel like doing whatever your thing is that you're looking to include into your day. Like, half the time you're not going to feel like it. And that's not a problem to solve. It's just the normal texture of doing things worthwhile. The feeling is not invited to the decision because you already decided. Tired you doesn't get the vote, remember? Because when we don't give tired you the vote, then you're still going to get that thing done, just like you get done brushing your teeth. Okay? So the next thing that I want you to do, this is number 4, is make missing once cost you nothing. What do I mean by that? So here's the one that saves people. You're going to miss a day, right? So if like you're building a new exercise routine, or you're trying new dietary habits, or you're, I don't know, bringing in meditation or nervous system regulation, like, you're going to miss a day. Not maybe, like, you are. Life happens. The whole thing does not live or die on a perfect record. And God, I see clients fall into this trap so many times, right? The single most important rule is this: never miss twice in a row. One missed day, it's an accident. 2 missed days in a row is the beginning of the end, because that's where the old story comes rushing back in. See, I knew I'd fail. See, I can't do this. So when you miss, you don't get to spiral out of control. You don't get to quit. You don't miss the next one. Missing once means nothing. It happens. Missing twice is how things begin to die. So protect that second day with everything you've got. Okay. And then, of course, number 5 is stop renegotiating the contract. And this is the mindset piece that really holds all of it together, because once you've decided, like, I have decided that I'm going to make sure that, I'm getting sufficient protein every day. Once you've decided, it's like the decision is closed. It's not up for review every morning. When the little voice pipes up and says, do I really have to today? The answer isn't a debate. It's a fact. I've already decided that. Next. And you guys, the less decisions we have to make during the course of the day, like, the easier life becomes. You would think it's absurd to relitigate whether or not you're going to brush your teeth every day. If you're like, oh, am I going to brush my teeth? Am I not going to brush my teeth? You don't do that. You just brush your teeth. Treat this the same way. There isn't negotiation that is here to be lost or won. Okay. There just isn't any negotiation. And that's when you'll see that consistency will begin to take place. Okay. Now, notice what all 5 of these have in common. Not one of them asks you to be more disciplined. Not one of them asks you to want it more, or to dig deeper, or to find some willpower you didn't have yesterday. No. Every single one of the steps is about removing decisions, not making harder ones. That's the whole game. You're not trying to become a stronger version of yourself. Okay. what you're doing is you're trying to build a life where the strong version of you isn't even required, right? Because the decisions are already made. So let's come back to my client, the one who said, I always start and I always fail. Here's what I want her to know, and what I want you to know, especially if any of this landed close to home. So you're not failing because something's wrong with you. It's kind of like you've been handed a broken tool and then told that there's a problem with your hands. Well, it's never your hands. It wasn't your hands. Here's the proof, right? The thing I keep coming back to. You have already done the hard part. Not once, 1,000 times. Every habit you keep without thinking, everything you do day after day after day without a shred of willpower is proof that you have the exact ability that you've been convincing yourself that you lack. You're not learning a new skill here. You already have it. You're just pointing it at something new. Maybe it's working on your protein. Maybe it's getting rid of sugar. Maybe it's going to bed every night at the same time. Make the decision once. Make it small, make it simple, bolt it on to something that's already solid, and then stop putting it back on the ballot every morning. Take it off the table the same way that brushing your teeth no longer takes up your time. It's off the table. It's not, you don't brush your teeth because you're disciplined. You brush your teeth because it's who you are. It's like what you do. So you've started maybe trying to take on new habits 100 times. And this time, you're not going to start. You're going to decide. And then you're just going to be someone who does this, someone who eliminates sugar from their diet, someone who works out, someone who meditates, someone who, eats healthy, unprocessed food, whatever it is, the thing that you are working on in your life right now. You're just going to be the person who does this. And that's the whole thing. That's commitment. It's never and never has been about willpower. It's about making the choice once and then setting yourself free from having to make it ever again. So if this hits something for you and you're staring down at a goal, you keep starting or stopping when it comes to your health, and this is exactly what we want to help you with. So feel free to leave comments in the comment section, reach out to me, Dr. Z, and our office. And you guys, thank you for spending time with me. Go decide right now to do one small thing and then go be the person who does it. See you next time. This is Dr. Z reminding you to tune into your body, connect with what matters, and embrace your journey to true wellness. If you enjoyed today's episode, be sure to subscribe, leave a review, and share this with someone who's ready to redefine their health. Be sure to grab a copy of the True Wellness Checklist right in the show notes. Let's keep redefining wellness and empowering change together. See you for the next episode.